And this is the reality for all Latinos. All of us have to carry our passports with us. All of us. That's the new reality.
The election of President Donald Trump has come up with many people giving their different reactions from different quarters. And there are those who are receiving it positively, while there are those who try to complain and give their reasons why they did not want him to win. You know, during the campaigns, there are certain issues that were raised that are quite salient. There are issues of abortion that people talked about. There is this issue also of mass deportation that he was talking about. And then here we have a lot of Latinos and Hispanics having to worry because they think that the new administration will implement stringent measures to have immigrants deported. And if you listen to many, they think that these immigrants will be deported without consideration of whether they are citizens or they are not citizens. Before you say anything, let's watch these videos, then come back and share our thoughts together.
My immigrant mother just called me on the phone, innocently asking me if she should start carrying her passport in case they start doing mass deportations to prove that she's a citizen. That's so sad.
I'm truly devastated by the election results, and not just because Kamala lost. Like, you know, it is what it is. The American people voted. I'm not going to say that we should do what the Republicans did and try to contest it. You know, I'm sure that was a fair election. However, I am truly scared for America. And a lot of people are saying that people are being dramatic. And you'll go online and see people saying they're genuine, valid fears. And almost all the laugh reacts are white men that genuinely have no idea that these fears are genuine and valid. So let me share you some of my big scares for the next 4 years. I'm, first of all, concerned about the Department of Education. He's been very open that he wants to cut it. My daughter's about to go into school. We can't afford private school. I'm very scared about that. I'm very concerned about the cost of every good going up tremendously because Trump does not understand how tariffs work. And the way that tariffs work is the business is going to pass the cost down to the customers. They're not going to front the cost. So that means that China's not going to have any extra costs. It's going to be us, which means that we're going to have to pay a lot more for a lot of goods. I'm concerned about our taxes in the middle class getting tighter because he wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthy, but you know, his previous tax bills actually made taxes more expensive for the middle class, and we're still under those tax bills. So let's just see what happens with that. I also am scared about my daughter's reproductive rights. I'm scared about my reproductive rights. My husband and I are afraid about the fact that more Supreme Court justices are about to be made Republican for life because there's going to be more that are stepping down during this term. There are more that are going to be retiring. So I'm really worried about the fact that we're about to have a primarily Republican Supreme Court that's going to last decades because they are elected for life. I'm really genuinely worried about having a Republican-controlled Senate. I'm really worried about having a Republican-controlled Supreme Court for decades. I'm really genuinely scared. I'm genuinely scared that more bills are going to get challenged. I'm genuinely scared that more rights are going to get challenged and taken away. And these are genuine fears that are a very real possibility. And the fact that people are laughing as if it's some crazy, outlandish conspiracy theory is just crazy. This is a genuine fear that most people are realizing right now. And the scary personal note for me is I don't think my husband and I are going to have more kids. And that is heartbreaking because we weren't going to have more kids if Trump gets elected. We don't want to bring more kids into a country until it's more certain, and I'm facing the real reality that I might not be able to have another kid, which is devastating for so many reasons.
Innocently asking me.
I'll take more shit that's never happened for 500, Alex. Yeah, it would help if you knew anything about immigration. Honestly, it would be in your favor before making up dumb fuck stories like this. Because if your mum's got an American passport, guess what else your mum's got? American identification. Or some piece of paper with a picture on it which says she can be here. Which bylaws she should be carrying anyway. As a visa holder. Two, who the fuck are you trying to appeal to? No one's going to tear out your uterus because you're an idiot. At worst, you have to get a job and be accountable for your dumb actions, your dumb statements, and your dumb videos. That's it. At worst, Someone's going to tell you, don't breed. Cheers.
And this is the reality for all Latinos. All of us have to carry our passports with us. All of us. That's the new reality. Cops are going to be given insurmountable power, immunity. Trump has immunity. You think that you're safe because you're undocumented? And I'm not talking to my girl here. I'm just saying in general, Latinos in general. You think you're safe because you're a citizen? You are in for a very rude awakening. This is our new life. We have to carry passports with us everywhere we go. And I don't even think that'll be good enough. That's not going to be good enough. If the cops think you're a fucking immigrant, they're going to take your ass. Because they have no immunity. That's their job. The more they can take off the streets, the merrier. That's going to be the goal. Remember, Stephen Miller is over this. He wants us all gone. So if Americans happen to be taken in, so be it. Remember, Trump said Americans will be included. And it will be a, quote, bloody story. It will be a bloody story. And citizens will be taken in. Those are Trump's words. The people that, who voted for him, in case you don't know, you're about to find out. This is a very real question, girl. Just like this lady in this video asking a very real question. And for us women, Latina women, we have double. We have to worry about many issues, not just abortion and pregnancy related issues. We have to worry about deportation issues. We have to worry about being pulled over by cops and interrogated, maybe even raped by cops and taken in because they think we're undocumented, even if we show them a passport or an ID. So this is a very real issue, ladies, where we have to be very careful who we share shit with. And stay the fuck away from Latino men, period. Don't give no kitty cat to Latino men until you know who the fuck they are. And don't just base it on, did you vote for Trump or Kamala, and let them answer. Don't base it just on that. Watch their actions. You now have to be extremely careful because Latino men has shown us who they are and what they really care about. They don't give a fuck about you. You have to be very careful. We are now entering a time where everyone has to be extremely careful in what they share to whom because of what is about to happen. Abortion ban, state to state, is now going to be a federal ban. Contraceptives will be outlawed. No-fault divorce is going to be repealed. I'm telling you, so much is going to happen. This is a very real issue that could cost you your life. That's where we are. This is where we are. Stay safe, girl.
To prove that she's a citizen.
Watching all these people freak out and be like, women's rights are going to be taken away, or like, I don't know, my grandma's going to get deported. It's kind of like when you have to put a kid to bed, like a toddler, and they're absolutely convinced that there's a monster in their closet, and so they're just like screaming and flopping on the floor. And no matter what you do to tell them, hey, there's no monster, you're freaking out over nothing, they still just are absolutely convinced. And you just kind of have to let them cry it out and like freak out until they don't have any more energy, and then they can calm down and realize they were freaking out for nothing. I don't like Trump, but he was already president. This already happened, and nobody got their rights taken away. Like, exact same thing happened last time he was president. People were freaking out saying women are going to lose their rights, there's going to be mass deportations, and it just didn't happen. It didn't happen.
If she's a legal citizen of the United States, then she won't get deported. Fucking really? You fucking Democrats with your fucking rage baiting and your fucking sympathy videos. Y'all need to get the fuck over yourselves. If she's a citizen of the United States, she came over here legally, did what she has to do to become a U.S. citizen, then she's not going to be deported. But I know all this is fake. And you know that. But you're going to do it anyways. And people are going to call you out on your bullshit. Like I'm calling you out on your bullshit. So stop with the rage baiting. Stop with the fake crocodile tears. My son, at 3 years old, had better crocodile tears than you. Jesus Christ, you fucking liberals. Get the fuck out of here. You lost fair and square. Trump 2024, bitches!
Hey, y'all, I just want to give a few words on my thoughts on the election and something that's bothering me since Trump lost in 2020. I remember right after his loss, I told a number of people, I think Trump is going to steal the next election legally and he's going to win. Now, I'm not in any way indicating this election is stolen, but I am indicating the plan to take it was very fierce, organized, and it started the night Trump lost. That entailed taking over all of our mainstream media. And that's the part that makes me feel extremely uneasy. We all watched it happen. First and foremost, I was a loyal CNN watcher during the 2020 election. I also watched them during the 2016 election, and I was very upset with them because I felt they contributed to Trump's win in 2016. But they didn't do that for 2020. So I felt a little bit more relieved. It felt like they were more on our side. They did not want him to win. And they were also very concerned after January 6th happened. But right after 2020, they got new management or new owner, both or one, I can't remember, but they definitely got a new CEO, and he changed everything. He told them to stop talking about January 6th, and he wanted them to start bringing on Republicans. And the same kind of crap happened throughout all mainstream media. And Washington Post changed editors and I think owners. I don't know how long Bezos has been owning that, but the LA Times, Univision, I mean, they're all were taken by Republican. And you could feel the shift in mainstream media from 2020, right after, throughout the last 4 years, the shift in mainstream media has turned more conservative. Even the other channels, like I said, CNN, who has been typically Democrat. And on top of that, Steve Bannon would constantly talk about how he was going to get 40% of black men and Latino men to vote Trump, and that they were going to make it happen. He was on path to making it happen. So they were courting black and brown men since 2020. I really believe that they have been paying voters, people to vote. I really believe that. Just as they were paying influencers to influence, they were paying people to vote. But I don't know the plan in place or what they did, but it's definitely something like underground. I mean, toward the end of this election, 2024, they were so fucking arrogant. Like, they didn't blink an eye at the shit they were doing and pissing people off. They didn't care if they pissed anyone off. They just knew they had it in the bag. And that always concerned me. That concerned me a lot. Like, yep, just like I said, they're going to steal the election. I'm not trying to say they stole the election, but something's off. Something's off. On top of that, we had a huge early voting in all the states. Everyone was breaking early voting stats, and that usually is an indicator for Democrats, which is why a lot of people were telling us this was going to be a blowout. Well, when I first started watching the election last night, I turned my TV on around 7 o'clock and I said, okay, let's see how things are going. 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is where I am. And immediately, I usually gauge how the night's going to go based on early voting stats. And I will tell you, immediately upon listening to the early voting stats, I was frozen. And I got a huge feeling in my stomach, a punch in the gut, if you will, of holy shit, she's going to lose. And I just looked like I was like, she's gonna fucking lose. This isn't good. I knew immediately. I didn't know what to do. I had to leave. And I was walking in my car thinking, please let me be wrong. Please let me be wrong. But she's gonna lose. And the more I listened throughout the night, the more I got, my feeling was solidified. I had to go to bed early because I couldn't listen anymore. And on top of that, all the mainstream media did not seem scared or concerned like in 2020. CNN was very matter of fact. It felt like they wanted Trump to win. All the mainstream media made me feel that way this time around. So much shifted from 2020. There was this huge plan that started the night Trump lost, and I knew it. I could feel it. That they were doing that. They talked about it, and I just thought, we're in trouble. In 4 years, we're in trouble. And part of that really included getting to the black and brown men. And I honestly believe that maybe they were paid to vote. I don't know, something's off. It seemed too seamless. The win seemed too seamless, and they knew they were going to win. They knew they had the votes. The day, election day, Trump told the media, I feel very confident we're going to have a blowout and we have the votes. And I know he talks like that all the time, but this was different. He was very calm and he said, we have the votes. We're going to win big. And then he tried to walk back and say, it's going to be a long night. We may not know for a couple of days, but we're going to win big. Like, that confidence was strong. It wasn't just him speaking hyperbole like he always does. He knew it. He knew. Just something just feels off. I don't know. I can't say that it was stolen outright like they did in 2020, but I definitely feel like the plan to make this happen was constructed, organized, implemented throughout the last 4 years, and it paid off, and they knew it. Everyone was in play. All the chess pieces were in play, and they had been moving for 4 years, and it was so secure that he knew he had the votes going into the night. And it bothers me. Something about this, all of this, is so eerie and unnerving.
Now, if you look at those who have spoken in that video, you're able to see how this election was divided into two genders. We have many women complaining and being worried about a new Trump administration. And then we have men who are saying that President Trump had been president before, and the things you're complaining about, he did not do any of them, and therefore, I don't think he's going to change. And that is also the kind of thought that I tend to hold, because I think President Trump is somebody who is quite rational. He may have some moments when he speaks so radically, but I think in his official duties, he has always displayed civility and respect to the rule of law. I don't think many people have to be worried. But then, what is the cause of this worry? You know, as you are gearing towards the election, you would note that there was a lot of media propaganda targeting President Trump, where the left-wing media was saying that President Trump is going to be a dictator on the first day of his election. And when he takes office, he would rule in tendencies of a dictator, which truly I don't think will work. He has very reasonable friends, people like Elon Musk. He has very reasonable members of Senate and the House of Representatives that I think he will take his time to really be fair in terms of what he does. But the only thing that he will have to do is ensure that the agenda that put him into office works and gets right. While the ladies there complaining about the question of immigration, it is quite evident that if anybody gets into a country illegally, they need to sort that out with the authorities. And if they have any means of, let's say, seeking asylum, there is a proper way of asylum seeking. And I think that is what we should all take and adopt. So despite President Trump doing very well in terms of the demographic of Hispanics and Latinos, we are finding that there are still some who are not happy and not thinking positively about his administration. Why is this happening? Let's find out. Many Latinos and Hispanics in the United States fear a second presidency of President Donald Trump due to his administration's past policies and rhetoric, which were often perceived as hostile towards immigrants and minority communities. During his first term, President Trump implemented policies such as travel bans on predominantly Muslim countries, expanded deportation priorities, and most controversially, the family separation policy at the US-Mexico border. These actions left many Latinos and Hispanics feeling targeted, fearing an intensified focus on immigration crackdown and punitive measures should he return to office. The fear is exacerbated by the rhetoric Trump and some of his supporters have historically employed. His description of Mexican immigrants as rapists and drug traffickers during the 2016 campaign was perceived as inflammatory and offensive, reinforcing the notion that his presidency would marginalize Latinos and immigrants. Additionally, President Trump pushed to build a border wall and the strong emphasis on ending the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, DACA, further contributed to concerns of disenfranchisement and vulnerability. These examples illustrate why some believe another Trump presidency could lead to increased discrimination, restrictive immigration policies, and greater challenges for mixed status families, ultimately harming both undocumented and legal immigrants. However, some argue these fears might be misplaced. While Trump's rhetoric and certain policies may appear harsh, his presidency also saw historically low unemployment rates among Hispanics and Latino Americans before the COVID-19 pandemic, bolstered by border economic growth. His administration touted economic opportunity zones and initiatives meant to benefit underserved communities, including many Latinos. Trump has also demonstrated a willingness to reach out to Latino voters on economic and conservative values, and there has been a visible increase in Latino support for him, especially among younger generation and small business owners who appreciated his deregulatory and tax policies. Moreover, changes to immigration policy require legislative collaboration, making it unlikely that any one president can ultimately enact sweeping draconian measures. Critics argue that a Trump presidency immigration policy were not unique to him and reflect long-standing bipartisan challenges within United States immigration enforcement. In summary, while many of these fears among Latinos and Hispanics stem from genuine concerns over the past rhetoric and policies, there is evidence to suggest that another Trump presidency could bring more economic benefits and that substantial systemic immigration changes would require congressional approval, mitigating fears of unilateral actions. So, while there are those fears that many people harbor, it is quite evident to note that despite him controlling the Senate and on the verge of controlling the House of Representatives, he is somebody who is very rational. And we must admit that Biden administration failed quite terribly when it comes to issues of border security and preventing pouring in of immigrants into the country. We know that these immigrants come from different parts of the world, and their main agenda is always to find a greener pasture in that side of the world. But one thing we must note is that everybody is out there seeking for a better opportunity. So if we want to get a better opportunity anywhere, let's just use a formal way of getting in, because no one is prevented from going there. It is just that you must go through processes of being screened to check whether you have any criminal activities or history, such kind of things. So for me, I tend to side with him, and I think many who might be having fears will find out that at the end of his term, there are no unlawful things done as they would expect. And I think many who are afraid of a second term of President Trump are buying into the propaganda machine that was pushed by the left-wing media. Otherwise, I think he's going to be rational, he's going to be respectful, and I think he's also going to ensure that the rule of law and order is maintained. Tell me down in the comment section what you think about this. And if you're watching us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.